everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Donna Carrick, host of Dead to Rights, the podcast. I'm here today on behalf of the Mesdames of Mayhem to speak with Sara Carrick and Madeline Harris-Callway. And we're going to talk about what constitutes a great eye-catching, fun cover. Sara has worked on all the covers for the Mesdames of Mayhem. They are all original designs by Sara Carrick. And so we're going to ask her about what kinds of elements go into a great cover. Sara, I'm going to turn to you first. What are some of the key things you look for in a cover?
Well, the first thing would be something that would catch the attention in 1 second or less. So it also has to not be too busy, yet sort of encapsulate what the book is about. It's some way of doing that with saying a lot with saying little. So
yes. A great example of that would be the one that you just did recently for Lynn Murphy for Potluck and Other Stories, because you were able to capture that this was a fun, lighthearted book just without even looking at the detail in it. But the detail was definitely there if anybody wanted to look further, you know?
Yes, that great deal of thanks goes to the author, who pretty much told me what she was looking for and had a general idea of what she wanted. And so I was able to run with that. You know, the funny story is that I got the meaning all wrong in the beginning. I was showing her they're just things that were what I thought potluck meant.
She surprised you, didn't she?
Very innocently.
I think she surprised a number of us. Yes. And Madeline, you've worked with Sara on all of the Mesdames covers, and I know that's put a certain kind of pressure on you to be able to come up with ideas that encapsulate as many of the author's stories as you can, because these are anthologies. How do you focus in and hone in on ideas that you can share with Sara easily that will display?
Well, I think I'm extremely lucky because Sara just intuitively understands. And what I especially love about Sara's work is that she's created such a wonderful brand for us for the Mesdames. Now we hit upon the color purple, and I forget, maybe Sara, you can refresh my memory of how we hit upon the color purple for the very, very first cover we did, 13. But that's become our brand color since then. And it started with the book cover, and then we took it out on the road when we did our public events. And Sara also created the wonderful logo of the Mesdames.
Yes, and you can see it here in my background right under Mesdames of Mayhem. I'm not sure it displays very, very vividly, but it's a lovely logo. And if you go to mesdamesofmayhem.com, you're going to see our logo very vividly there. So take a look.
I mean, we do see a rose in the middle, but if you look a little closer, you'll see some sinister things around the edges, which captures crime stories, of course. Now, what I think we've done in the past, Sara, and again, refresh my memory if I'm wrong, is that we send you the titles and usually a short description of each story. And from that, and communicating the theme to Sara, she's able to come up with some absolutely marvelous ideas.
Oh, thank you.
They are really good. And Sara, one of the things, as Madeline was saying, that you did is you really branded us. You gave us a brand that we can use through the years. How did you come up with the ideas for branding for us?
That would go to you guys. You had an idea. I remember the purple. That was kind of funny because I think I did a proof and I kind of like the color purple. And somebody said, we like the color purple. And I remember just going, yay, and I ran with it. And because
that works.
it just speaks to me as you can have make it a light background, a dark background. It's it kind of worked with the elegance of the group. And coming up with the ideas based on the stories is I learned one thing very fast. Is you all have this very dark and Not twisted, but slightly.
A little twisted.
Clearly, you haven't read my story yet.
No, Donna's is the darkest in this collection. It's a brilliant story, Donna. Brilliant.
You have a
Oh,
macabre
thank you.
sense of humor, and I love that. And that's what made it always fun to read the titles. And a meeting, and when I did get to meet you at, I think the book launch of one of the first, I was very sort of taken aback by, oh, this is a very interesting group of ladies and gentlemen. They all have this very sweet face and sinister.
Yes, yes, exactly. And a very accomplished group. Like that's what always I find so remarkable every time we get together. Like you only see a very small few of our group here in this picture. I chose this picture for my background just because it really does. It captures who we are, even though there's only a few of us represented here. But if you come out to our launch in the fall and meet the whole group, I think you'll be surprised. It's a large group. We have 22 authors represented in this coming anthology, In the Spirit of 13. We have not yet decided on a title at the time of this recording. However, by the time I release the recording, we should know what our cover is going to be, and I'll be sure to display it in the video so you can all see what Sara and Madeline have worked on for In the Spirit of 13. What other projects are you working on, Sara?
Yes, I'm working on another cover, and I guess I can't give too much away on that one. Or
No,
can I?
not that one. If I know the one.
No. But yeah, I was doing that actually back and forth. It was the first time I've ever jumped from one to another, then go back to the other, and I kind of felt that was fun and interesting because there were two different ideas completely. And I was worried for a time I was going to overlap and say, what's this element doing there? But I guess in other terms, I was, that is what I tend to do. I do other, small bits on the side of.
But you have a long, resume as a graphic artist.
Yes.
And I think people don't realize that. Tell us about that. How long have you been working in graphic arts?
I'm not gonna say. That's gonna age me.
Oh, I know, and you hate to do that, don't you?
We all hate to do that.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm gonna say Bain Anonymous right here, candidate. I went to school for graphic design down in Toronto, George Brown College. Go Huskies. Yeah, had a lot of fun doing that. And I've shifted a lot. You start off in advertising and then you wind up doing almost everything but you studied at the end of the day. So I think the greatest asset was doing pre-press. Strangely enough, I spent a lot of time in pre-press where I got to understand what the cover is going to look like, but how's it going to print? Because what might look good on a screen is not going to look great always on the press. Sometimes that does happen. Technology today usually makes it happen, but the sort of things to understand that. I've moved a bit more into web now, strangely more back-end web building for sites and in the e-commerce section. And the graphic still comes up to this very day where I'm handling logos and that. So I've always been exposed to coming up with logos and a certain amount of branding and understanding that what has to look good is certain on a website, what will look good in print, what will look good in tiny, what will look good in big. And that's where I handle my covers as what looks good as a cover in a large size. How's it going to look on a website when people are flipping through?
Yes, or in a thumbnail on Amazon. That is so critical. That's my 2 cents. Is what I always look for is it's got to be bold and visible, even in a thumbnail size.
Exactly, in a tiny, tiny thumbnail image.
Yeah.
How do we grab the reader?
Oh, sorry. Okay, and it's fun to do. I like to sneak in little in jokes probably for my own amusement and stuff I take off with Mesdames. It's so easy because of all the titles. I have a lot of fun.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Finding
we always
jokes.
have a lot of fun working with you. Yeah.
And I love getting the input, say, could you, that's fun. That's the best part of it. But yeah, but it still has to be fairly simplistic when it's reduced to a size. You still have a lot of detail, but the main element should be,
Yes,
as Donna said, jump out at you because you're competing with a sea of covers.
Yes. And you can think of it as speaking to separate audiences, almost like the cartoon, The Simpsons. If a child is watching The Simpsons, they're just laughing along with the big obvious elements. But of course, as adults, if you watch The Simpsons, what you get out of it is quite different from what a child gets out of it. And that's the same thing with a thumbnail cover versus a large scale cover. I mean, if you're looking at the large finished product, you can get quite a bit of different elements out of it than you do in a thumbnail, but you've got to get something out of it when it's in a thumbnail.
And you also want to keep the audience you don't want to give it all away saying, this is what the book is and this is how it's going to end. You want to just say, what is that? What is that one? Which goes back to album covers, everything. It's always when you think of your favorite album covers, the ones that really struck you, or book covers.
That's right.
There's something on there you had no idea what it meant, or maybe you did, but it got your imagination going, and suddenly I just got to listen to this. I got to read this, and I hate to say it, I believe we do judge books by their cover.
Oh, absolutely.
Until we get to know it, and then the story takes over. Obviously, it should never overshadow the book either. I mean, because you can't really possibly. A good book is a good book, and a good story is a good story, and I just want to enhance it and point people.
Well, yeah, it's a quagmire out there because you're competing with with the technology we have now. All the people who ever wanted to be writers are now writers, and you're competing, and there's a lot of noise out there, and so the cover really does have to represent. It really does, even more than it ever did, And the other thing is, if you're a known writer, you can get away with the blank slate cover, but if you're not a known writer, your cover better entice the reader. That's my little soapbox on the whole thing. But Sarah, if somebody who shall remain nameless were to want to employ you for help with a web design, where would they find you?
I honestly don't know. You could find me on WordPress, and I can provide a link. It just shows basically a resume of what I do, some of the book covers.
Yeah, you could send it over to me and I'll put it in the show notes. Anyway.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get a Facebook or an Instagram dedicated. And when I get a little less lazy, I will do that.
Yeah, we end up so busy, don't we? And Madeline, you're now trying to put together a launch, and we're hoping that it's going to be an in-person launch this year. Tell us how that's going.
Well, we're hoping, of course, to be at our favorite bookstore, the Madame and Monsieur's favorite bookstore, which is Sleuth of Baker Street. So we're hoping to firm that up, and probably we've always had good luck at launching around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So we hopefully to keep that. If Sleuth, for whatever reason, is not able to accommodate us, then we have a lot of other options, and we're exploring a lot of the indie bookstores around the city, and we'll definitely be keeping everyone posted through the Madame's newsletter. So please follow us through that, and through our news flashes, which we'll also be posting on our website on a regular basis.
Excellent. And I'll post those links in the show notes. But for anybody who's not familiar, it's mesdamesofmayhem.com. So go there and learn all about us. And anyways, ladies, it's great talking to you. And I really appreciate you both joining us today and for the insights on covers. And if anybody is trying to reach Sara and they're not sure how, they can always contact me at carrickpublishing@rogers.com. And I will be happy to put you in touch with Sara.
a dusty road, man alone. His vital signs go on hold, and I don't know what you've been told, but the years have turned my eyes gold. And I told you what you told me, we'd never be in the same boat for free. Yet it rides, let it rock.